Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with Session 4 of Thunderridge. Thunderridge is a fantasy western game that takes place in a homebrew world of mine known as the Caldera. We have been on the trail of this game for a little bit. Like I said, tonight is our 4th session. The title of tonight's session is Time Knaps the Sharpest Edge. We play this game using very slightly modified rules for D&D 5th edition, with some other stuff kind of sprinkled in. But what did I want to say other than... the same warning that I give ahead of all of my games, and that is, if foul language and mature subject matter are problems for you, then I don't know how you wound up here, but you need to pull a U-turn and go home. Because, none of the games are going to make you happy. But if you enjoy those kinds of things, then pick a seat. Grab some popcorn. Or whatever. In just a moment, I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can introduce themselves, tell you where you may be able to find them on the internet, what they have going on, and things of that nature. Maybe introduce you to who they're going to be playing, and then we can get started. Anybody who mentions a channel, you should be able to find it in the description below. So do take the time to go check them out, please. These are all wonderful human beings, even those who don't have links for you to follow. What else? Oh, yes. I would also like to say a massive, massive thank you to my friend L.A., also known as the Mapronomicon in certain circles of the community, for helping me as a culture consultant. This particular episode is going to lean pretty heavily into the Dorathians, and I wanted to have a conversation with somebody who knew more about that than I do, that could speak from a place of experience. And I was very, very, very thrilled to be able to sit down with him and have a little chat. And I feel really good about what we're going to do tonight. So, all right. Without any further ado, I'm going to pass things over to the players. So, first up is Chad.
Hello, internets. Hi. It's me again. That's it. That's all I got. No, you guys can find me every Thursday over at Mini Terrain Domain for our Kids on Bikes game. And then once a month, you can find me here with Jeremy doing this game. And then right now, I've been on kind of a hiatus over there, but my group over on Roll Call RP on Twitch, they're still going strong. They're doing community games right now. We're not really doing like our set campaign games that we used to be doing, just because holidays and stuff were nuts. So I'm noticing that we've been transitioning to a more drop in, drop out community setting. So it's pretty nice. It's been really great. So go check those guys out if you get a chance. And then, I am going to potentially, it sounds like, be in Jeremy Avatar game, right?
Indeed.
Depending on if, obviously, I don't know if it's going to be...
I think he said it's not going to be streamed. Yeah.
But that's fine. But we're going to be playing an Avatar game sometime in March.
Benders or blue people?
Benders.
Benders.
Yeah,
gotcha.
The Last Airbender.
Last Airbender.
I don't know.
Friend,
people just throw Avatar out there. It's like,
our friend Alan is gonna
not Thunder Smurfs.
No,
not the Thunder
Smurfs. Incredible. I want to play one of those now.
Yeah, I'm excited for that game. I'm excited. Sometime very soon. Other than that, that's me. I play a grumpy vulture. I play a grumpy vulture cowboy with a bond to his soul. So that's pretty fun. Warlock vulture cowboy sounds fun to me. And I missed all you guys, your wonderful faces. I'm so excited to be in this game again. Let's ride.
Warlock Vulture Cowboy was actually my 4th studio album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It has all of the best Christmas hits on it. Speaking of the best Christmas hits, next up is Nathan.
Speaking of Christmas hits, I got a Christmas present that wasn't for Christmas today. Jeremy's got some merch out, and my shirt came in today. This is one of Jeremy's shirts that he's got up. I went to the merch site whenever I saw the link pop up in Facebook, and this is the first thing I saw when I clicked on it. And I was like, I gotta have that shirt. Yeah, it just came in today, so wearing a fresh new fit. It's comfortable. I pulled it out of I was telling Jeremy earlier, I pulled it out of the package when I got home from work, and it felt like a really thick t-shirt because it was folded up so tight. When I unfolded it and fluffed it out, I was like, okay, this is some really good, comfortable material. So I'm excited to break this shirt, and I'm happy with it. I like it. And you should go check it out. If you haven't checked out Jeremy's merch store, you should go check that out. I don't have a link, or I would share it. Hopefully it's either somewhere accessible, or maybe in the YouTube description down there, or maybe it'll be added later. Putting him on the spot. But I'm Nathan, Dimension 119. Dimension 119. That's where you can find me on all the socials. Twitch. I do most of my streaming on Twitch, and then post my VODs on YouTube later. You can check out most of our games over on YouTube if you or catch them live when we stream them. We normally do our playthrough of some video game on Tuesday nights. I've had to miss a lot lately because I've been working late. But currently we're playing through The Witcher 3. We made some decent progress last night, and we're getting pretty close to being able to go to the 3rd area. I'm doing like all the side quests and stuff that I can before I move on to the story quests, just to get as much as I can in. We do Adventures in Middle-earth every other Wednesday night over on the channel, where we're playing a campaign we've entitled The Lesser Rings. I've got a friend of mine who is a Lord of the Rings expert running the game. It's a very
Kevin
goofy style.
Is a fantastic
Kevin, yes.
GM. He is immaculately patient with all of you.
Wait, I don't know why he still hangs out with us, but he does. So we're taking advantage of it as long as we can, because Kevin's the only reason why our Lord of the Rings campaign feels like Lord of the Rings. It has nothing to do with any of us players, because it devolves very quickly. We also don't know how to play our character. We've played 24 sessions, and we're just now learning how to play our characters. So he's been real patient with us. And I do survival games. Yeah, Saint Kevin. I also do survival games on Wednesday nights on my channel. I do a co-stream with my buddy Dumpgraw. We play things like Eco. We've been playing Enshrouded lately. That just released a full game. It's early access, but we finally got past the demo and got to a full early access game. So we've been enjoying that lately. Sometimes we do things like DayZ. We recently did some Fallout 76, which was really fun. It's not quite classified as a survival game, but we do these games that are quote unquote survival as kind of tests for the podcast that Dumpgraw does. I also play with them on Thursday nights doing the same thing. And then various other places over the weekends.
You're a busy man, Nathan. No doubt about it.
I try to be.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Speaking of always a pleasure, next up we have Todd. You're muted, Todd.
There we go. I'm Todd. I'm playing Eric Cochra. I think. An owl, which is based on Eric Cochra. Anyway, I'm playing an Alkin sharpshooter. And I am not on the socials as far as this kind of thing goes. Looking forward to the game.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, as always, Todd. And next up we have Glenn.
Hey, I'm Glenn. I play Saul, Fennec Fox Wizard using the Kobold lineage for most of my stats and whatnot. Let's see. I'm not really consolidated on the socials. I'm on most of them, but I'm old, so I kind of collected them as they came and never bothered to put that shit in like a uniform fashion. At some point, maybe I'll get motivated to do that. If you find me out there on the internet, I think there's a prize for it. I don't know. I'm not on there other than Jeremy's channel and like
It's like a
the
rare
socials.
Pokemon.
Yep. But yeah, if you find me, I guess hit me up and say where you found me from. That'd be cool, I guess. Doesn't really bother me. Otherwise, you'll see me on some of Jeremy's other games and hopefully on more games in the future.
Oh yeah, man. Glad to hear it. All right, last but certainly not least, we have other Chad around these parts.
That would be me. I am a ghost type Pokemon, so sometimes I'm hard to find too. But I am playing Lazarus. It's kind of like if you have kids and they have this favorite stuffed animal, and they drag it around and they take it everywhere, and it's like eye needs to be replaced and its ears falling off, and it's that's kind of what Laz is. He's a a hair folk that no longer really has any hair. He's mostly scarred. He's lost an eye, an ear, a hand, a foot, like pretty much both of his legs. He's all beat up, and so he wears his scars. But he's a little bit of an Iron Man. He has magical armor that helps protect him and helps him be able to get around. And as for me, I'm just some guy on the internet. If you find me, you get a prize too, I think. But mine isn't as big as Glenn's, so look for him.
I didn't
instead.
say it. He did. Like, mine's bigger. And then Chad locked up. I froze him.
He did. It was so cold. It was cold as ice.
Come back to me, Laz. Come back, Lucky.
Lucky and everything except for internet connection.
Damn it. Hey, now he's back. That was on the other side.
I'm back, but now I'm regular Chad.
Yeah.
I'm
And Chad
flipping
became an owl.
Confuse anybody at all. Let's see.
the only other thing I would plug is Absolute Tabletop. If for some reason you haven't found it on some kind of platform, you might want to check it out. It's a great community of people just like this, playing games just like this. And you could even jump in some probably through there, or maybe even run your own and find some other crazy people like this to follow you around and roll dice. That's about it for me. Thank you guys so much.
Oh yeah, Chad. Yeah, Absolute Tabletop is just a fantastic group of people. I've been very, very lucky meeting a lot of people who are very, very dear to me and making the channel and everything else that you're witnessing possible. Probably would not have done it if I hadn't gotten involved in AbTab. So, okay, I think that's all the business that we have to cover. So, everybody ready? Yeah. Let's go. When faced with something like the Caldera, a land coursing with the profound splendor of nature, people tend to fall into two distinct camps. The first, appreciate the beauty of how everything that surrounds them works in balance, and they strive to settle into their place among that divine tranquility. When the other camp looks out over these lands, however, they see something to be overcome, broken, bridled, and brought to heel. These folks desire only to suckle such a place until it runs dry, taking what they deem valuable and destroying its precious harmony in the process. We rejoin the five of you, this hodgepodge herd of different animal folk. Each one of you a unique entity in the Caldera. But the fact that there are a group of you that have come together is even more unique. To top that, we now find the five of you wandering through the spirit world. A liminal space that is both somewhat of the material plane and somewhat the realm of the dead, or the realm of what was. You found yourself amongst the towering buildings made of carved architectural stone and soaring arches, paint in colors that you've never seen. All of these arranged in orderly fashion, the streets clean and filled with people who were happy and prosperous, people giving and embracing everywhere you looked. Magic was on display by the smallest child, the poorest pauper, casting spells. Magic was everywhere that you looked in this ghostly world, kind of overlaid over the land that you now are traveling through, of broken rocks, of half-emerged ruins, of snow blanketing everything. You saw all of this stripped away, and then you found yourselves before the Gallow Tree, a haunting entity that takes the shape of a tree, a hangman's tree, with strange fruit dangling from its boughs. And when they speak as one. Virgil had a little conversation with the Gallow Tree, and it was enlightening, might be a way to put it. Terrifying might be another way to put it. In exchange for releasing a specific spirit from its clutches, the Gallow Tree made a deal with Virgil that Virgil would repay this debt with 2 souls, one of which we know as an audience as Elias. This spectral Dorathian warrior appeared on the hill where the tree was but moments before. And he waited for you to then follow him. And you are now following this spectral brave on a phantom steed, whom the only thing you know about is that his name is Aptunkone, which translates to wings on death. You've been traveling for a time that is hard to gauge. Could have been minutes. You could have been walking for days. It's hard to tell. But you are walking and he is on horseback, and it doesn't seem to be any struggle to keep up with him. And it's not that he's riding slowly, it doesn't really seem to matter. You're traveling together on this path. You are having him show you to where the tribe known as the Yangis are located. You are starting to get the sensation that you might be drawing to a close. And what I would like to know is, you are starting to see signs of an event known as the Reckoning. When the kingdom that existed here was torn asunder by some form of magic, and over the last 200 years has had to slowly rebuild itself through colonization, through settlement, through those who still existed here, scraping a living out of this land. What I would like to know is, each one of you, tell me something that you see, that we see here in the spirit world as you're traveling this last leg of your journey, that shows how magic abruptly and violently fractured and changed these lands and these people.
Like Saul can start because Saul hasn't. This isn't the first time Saul's seen this image, although not recognizing what it is necessarily, right? So after he meets up with Ezra, then as he looks out throughout, like sort of between buildings and sort of like the distant field areas that you can see, is where Saul doesn't see necessarily the sundering of a single event as much as it is the future of right after that. Like, this isn't something that happened overnight and the next day everybody just who was alive woke up. It's the sort of distortion and corruption of that sort of natural magic entities and energies, and then the perversion of it through manipulation and weaponry, etc. And so that's just what he keeps seeing, is that same violent sort of conflict that erupts right afterwards, where there's still enough residual magical energy and abundance of it, but everybody is using it to sort of position for those last resources they can get. And the burn down is going to happen over the next 50 years or so, probably, but he's seeing that immediate conflict afterwards, and just violent magics being unleashed and machineries powered by magics being unleashed.
Anyone else?
Laz would see he likes technology, so he would see like different magical artifacts as they would gain power and then lose power, or even overload with power and explode. And just the different effects that the ebb and flow of magic had as it kind of it came into existence and then it exploded, and how it has an effect, how it had an effect on some of these races, and he sees them coming into existence where there was, these hair folk and these bird folk and all these different amalgamations started happening, and that's what he's seeing is the twisting of all these different magics and nature combining together.
I think Dusty sees almost what would be akin to like a radiation poisoning, but it's with magics. He sees in flashes, he's seeing all of these different animals beginning to get hit with this magic and start to stand up and become like sentient and have the personalities kind of like what we're doing. But on the other side of that, he sees these like twisted or um incomplete versions, these versions that don't quite make it. The magic doesn't completely change them. It starts to, but it's not able to finish. So it leaves some husks. It leaves some maybe someone grows one owl wing out their back, but it's not functional. It just kind of hangs there. Um, he sees the darker side of that.
I think as Virgil is walking through the town, We're still in town, right? Are we?
No.
Have we walked past through this?
Yeah,
now,
you're
right?
in. You're seeing glimpses of city life and things, but as for
But for
your
the most
actual
part,
location, you are out in the wilds.
okay. So I think as we get out in the wilds, away from that, Virgil starts seeing these beautiful, massive plains. And on these plains, as they're walking through these pathways, through these woods, it's almost as if, going off what Nathan said, I feel like there is this absolute radiant energy that is cascading off of the trees, off of the ground, very much like when on a hot summer day you can see the vapor rise from the asphalt, right? Like that level of seeing the magic literally seeping from the ground itself. And as they're walking, you can kind of see it. And then he looks out into the field, and the field is lined with it, almost like an aurora borealis of this beautiful magic, all different colors, all different shapes. And then little pockets of people, little pockets of artifacts, little pockets of just magic existing in the way that it should be. Not forced, not pushed, but taken with respect and honor and dignity instead of siphoned and aggressively taken. And for the first time in a long time, there is a sense of peace that sort of washes over Virgil as he's experiencing this euphoria. But then that's suddenly stripped away as they continue to walk like a pesticide cropping through these fields. That magic aura begins to wither away. And in pockets where there would be life, it just begins to decay and fall away and rust and corrode. And this almost dust red wash, like blood running through the fields and plains, begins to cascade over all of this. The red turns darker and darker and darker until at some point it becomes almost an inky blackness as they look down from this hilltop that they're walking on, to the point where he can't take his eyes off of it. And I think the only thing that snaps him out of watching this erosion of magic is a friend placing their hand on him, because he's now given up part of his soul. He's now getting ready to potentially have to kill two of his friends at some point in his life. And so to watch the history, the tapestry of this spirit world both flourish and corrode all in a small space of time, he's lost in it. And he's just staring blindly out into these plains.
Todd, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, everybody covered it.
All right. Excellent. Uptune Kone continues to lead you on through these visions, experiences. It's hard to tell. There's parts of it that make it feel very real, as if you're living through these things, as if you're actually traveling in these places. But they're fleeting, like trying to hold on to a dream after you've awoken in the morning. Things are malleable. They change. They're fleeting. But he continues to lead you, always present with you, always just ahead of you on this path that you're carving through wherever you are. He does not speak. He remains silent the entire time. You're not even sure if he can speak. And slowly you start to see the wisps, the tendrils of this place starting to thin, starting to sparse out, to space out further and further. You're starting to see more and more of the material plane. And eventually you come out of the spirit world entirely to find yourselves in the burial grounds of what you're guessing is probably the Yengeese. Scattered around this hilltop that you are standing on top of, you can see that the dead have been laid to rest on burial scaffolds. Anybody who would like to make a religion check may do so.
Natural 20 for a 23.
All right, dirty 20 from Dusty and a nat 20 from Lucky. Anybody else want to toss one out?
Not
No?
my
Okay.
cup of tea.
I rolled, but I got so low. I'm embarrassed to say it. I got a 10. So, nah.
All right, fair enough. Dusty, you and Lucky both realized that these are absolutely the burial grounds of the Yengeese. Just by the style of the way that these things have been built, the markings and the fetishes, the totems and things that are hanging from different parts of these scaffolds, you know that these are, I guess, Yengeese would probably be the proper term. And you also both know that the reason that the Yengeese bury their dead this way, for one, it's winter and the ground is frozen solid, but it's also to keep them out of reach of wolves and things like that frequent the mountains. But also in their cosmology, the Sister Cloud, their sky goddess, is able to reach them better this way, and is able to elevate their spirits to the lands beyond. Each of you, as you are exiting the spirit world, you feel a strange sensation kind of wash over you. It was a violent place, and you were guests there for only a brief time. There was a lot that happened, a lot that you experienced, but you now find yourself with a little bit of a mourning feeling, a little bit of a sorrow in parting, to leave such a place behind. So, with that in mind, you realize that you have exited this other place, and you now find yourselves back in the real world, if you will. Aptun Kone, you notice, is still present. He has stopped near one of these scaffolds and has turned around and is looking at the group of you. And whoever it is, it doesn't matter who, but whoever happens to meet his gaze first, he takes his finger and points to the head of the body next to him, which is apparently lying in the snow, having fallen off of this platform. Does anybody respond?
Investigate the one on the ground.
Okay. Lucky, you head over to where he's pointing, and you see a humanoid skull sitting in the snow. It has paint that has been placed upon it, and is decorated with feathers and some leather tong, kind of tying them in almost a headdress style. These have been out here for a long time.
You would like show a sign of respect, but doesn't know what else to make of it at the moment.
Perhaps we should put it back. I'd try, but I'm tad short.
Well, Virgil will saunter forward and he'll head over to Aptuncone and he'll look at the skull. I don't want to disrespect you. I have no intention of doing that. So what would you like for me to do with this skull?
He looks at you, and he points to the skull again, and then he pulls his hand towards his chest with his hand open, almost as if miming grabbing the skull and bringing it close to his chest.
All right. Whatever floats your boat. He'll grab onto the skull below him.
As you go to do so, I'd like to do it with Mage Hand instead.
Okay.
Okay. So Lucky's Mage Hand reaches out, scoops up this skull. And what are you doing with it?
I'm gonna levitate it and bring it up to our spectral friend here and see if it's like, if he wants it, like offer it to him.
You use your Mage Hand to kind of lift it up towards him, and as it becomes clear that you're bringing it to him, he shakes his head and he pushes his hand kind of straight away from his chest, palm first, and he points to the grouping of you, and then he points to the skull and opens his hand, palm towards you.
Then I would levitate it towards Virgil.
All right. He'll wrap his talons around the skull. Very Hamlet-esque. And he'll then look to the group and then look back to Aptuncone. One or all of us?
He points to the skull again, and then he points to his own head. He points to his chest where he has this breastplate, this bone breastplate, draped over the front of himself, this armor. And then he points to the body that's still on the scaffold. He makes the sign of a noose tied around his neck, and then moves his fists in a breaking motion and points to you, Virgil. And then he points to the skull again and points to you.
Very well. If I can. Now, you said that there's a scaffolding here. Is there a body portion of this head that is hanging
Yes.
there still?
Yeah, the impression would be that you would probably have from his gesturing, if it wasn't clear what I was describing,
Yeah.
is that is his body,
Right.
and you
He
are
wants
holding
to
his
have-
skull.
Yep. He wants to have his whole being freed. Understood. Right?
What you get from this is that he is gifting you his skull
He is
as a
gifting
thank you
his skull.
for breaking him free from the gallows tree.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
And now that you're holding this, you
Yep.
can feel that there is something at work
something
in this skull.
resonating from the skull. Okay.
Yes. It is cold to the touch, and not just where it was partially buried in the snow. Like it's
Oh,
like touching something dead.
that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna carry my skull, my skull of cold, and I will bow my head to Optum Kone, and then very much. I think what I'll do is I'll take the red string or whatever is attached to the skull, and then I will affix it to my belt loop. Something. I want to hold on to it, but I don't know how to use it yet. I don't know what to do with it. But I will
Yeah, it's,
definitely take it as a gift, as a gesture.
It is certainly an odd gift. Probably one of the odder gifts that you've ever been given.
Yep. No one's ever given me a skull. I've had to take skulls before, but I've never been given a skull. So
He then takes the mane of the phantom steed that he has been riding, a bunchel of its mane in his hand, and turns the head of the horse away and begins to ride, kind of giving all of you a once over before he turns. And as he begins to ride away, you watch as his elevation climbs. He and the horse move skyward until they dissipate and disappear altogether.
and that moment of like somber resolution, watching this man fly to the heavens, he nods with like a resolution. Fly safe, brave warrior. He takes a deep, deep, heavy sigh and a breath, looking down at the skull at his side. I hope all this was worth it.
As you look around at your surroundings, you realize that you're kind of right on the edge of these burial grounds, where the elevation of the land starts to fall away towards a valley kind of down below you. And you look to see a river that kind of snakes its way through this valley. And though it does not seem to be moving very fast, it's not a large river, you can see that it is not frozen over. And there's a good border on both sides of the banks that is not covered in snow. And you can see at the headwaters in the valley that there is steam rising from the water. This appears to be a hot spring, and settled all around the shores of this hot spring and further down the embankments of the river, you can see a sizable gathering of lodges. Some of you would know them to be called teepees. This is a traditional housing that the Yangis use and live in. This is a winter camp. They have moved here for the season as a place of warmth. But it's not merely just a hot spring, it is also a sacred site to them. These waters are important to their beliefs, to their culture. And you can see that there is a lone Durathian standing some ways outside of the borders of this camp, just staring up in your direction, not moving. What would you like to do?
Well, I suspect we are the intruding party. We should probably show we mean no harm and come to them slowly, I suppose. And sort of, we still have our horses, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's sort of the standard traditional riding, reins open, like hands up, so that you can see that the hands are up and the reins would be in the hands, not no any guns or anything, and then just slow walk progression with the horse until we get close enough to sort of dismount. Would be what Saul would be continuing to do. Would recommend don't maintain eye contact too long, and don't no quick movements. Sort of rudely interrupting. And I'm sorry, is our friend still with us?
No.
Yeah.
No, the ghostly guide has gone.
And would seem that we may need to explain why we're currently holding the skull of one of their own in our possession.
Yeah, it sounds like you might have the words to say. Maybe you should speak up.
Oh, I'm happy to talk. Don't get me wrong.
Well, they wanted us to set him free, and we did with our job. So, if we did our job right, they shouldn't want to fight us. Shouldn't want to hurt us at all. Feel like we just go in there, act respectful like, and then everything should be fine.
Oh, yeah. Be respectful, but I'm not sure they asked us to do this. I believe the dwarven man's a friend of theirs, but I don't know how in communication he'd have been. But we'll ride up, and as we get off the horses, I think we would sort of let them come to us versus trying to assess who to find in their group. Whoever they want us to talk to, I think, would come up first.
Yeah, you cautiously, slowly make your way down, making sure that they can see you long before you're close. The person standing watching has the stature of an older man. It's kind of slunched at the shoulders a little bit. Seems to be using a cane or a walking stick of some kind. Watches you for some time as you come down the side of the hill, but before you get within shouting distance, he has turned around and headed back towards the village. Before you're really, I don't know, maybe 100 feet or so out from the very fringe, the very edge of this camp, there is quite a crowd that is starting to gather of individuals, and they're starting to kind of make their way towards you. Out front, there are several individuals who have donned weapons and armor, and they definitely look like they are prepared for a fight. Whether or not they're actually looking for one is hard to see yet.
So, quick question. We've been riding up slowly. Have I had 10 minutes to maybe ritual cast something?
Yeah, I would say so.
Awesome. Then I would like to ritual cast comprehend languages so that
Excellent.
I can make sure that I can at least understand what they're saying as we come up, because I don't believe any of us speaks. Like, I mean, I'm sure they speak common, but I don't know what the
Yeah, I don't know if anybody took Dorathian.
I didn't, although it might have made more sense. I don't know. With Saul's background, I kind of kept it as sort of the Dorathian are the human versions of what the kobold version of Saul would have been, right? Like first issue. So, kobolds probably don't speak. I mean, I guess they speak common, but maybe not, right? So I don't think they'd speak the unique language. Cool. Then yeah, I'll be doing comprehend languages and, messaging amongst the group afterwards with it on that one. I suspect, well, I guess we walk slowly in. What's the worst that could happen, huh?
All right.
I think we're still following the sort of the older one who was walking back towards town or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously if we're confronted, we'll deal with that individually.
There's definitely a number of individuals, especially the younger men and women, who seem to be, the ones that are carrying arms. They definitely make sure that they're kind of in the front of the group, and they are kind of calling to you, but there's a lot of it that is not empty threats, but basically telling you, you're not wanted. What are you doing here? You don't belong. Things of that nature. It seems to be what you gather from what they're saying. It has less to do with you being here at all and everything to do with where you just came from. So none of them are like drawing to fire. None of them are swinging at you or anything like that, but they're definitely getting close enough to you to make you feel uncomfortable. And if you're continuing to walk past them, they let you through without any sense of violence. But it is definitely not a welcomed arrival.
I'd pass that on to the group and just comment, right? Like, seems the path we chose to get here has put people off a bit. Something to keep in mind. And then doing a little bit of show, because I don't speak their language and I don't want to assume they speak common, or if they do that they want to show that. Just sort of showing the more like that we're like interacting with some stuff around to show the corporeal nature, being that we did just sort of pop in from the spirit world, I guess, or from the area of their burials and all of that, if that taint is still upon us.
So as you get closer to kind of the center of this camp, the heart of this camp. You see less and less of the armed individuals. They don't follow you into the heart of this place. They give you a wider and wider berth, and then you don't see weapons at all. And you see ahead of you the individual who was originally at the fringes of the camp that was watching you approach. Oh, my mouse is gonna go. All right, hang on a second. Let me get this. I need to just change this stupid battery. Okay, where's... Okay. You see that he is in fact an older man. He has the visage of a skull tattooed onto his face. He wears a necklace made out of animal bones and teeth, a small skull that looks like it might be like a large rodent, maybe a beaver or something to that effect. His clothes are made of leather. Those of you who have experience with these kinds of things, your guess is that it's probably elk. It looks like it's probably lined with rabbit fur. His eyes are completely white. There's no pupil in them. There's no hint of an iris. They're just pure milky white. But he doesn't seem to have any trouble seeing you. He's watching you as you kind of ride up, and beside him stands a woman. Also of advanced years, and she appears to be appointed as the matriarch of this camp. It looks like she very much is the one that is in charge. Behind her, where there is smoke from many fires, kind of swirling about, you swear that you see the smoke forming the shape of the face of a bear, kind of just behind her and above her. They stand beside one another, apparently just waiting for you to approach and say something.
Message to Virgil. Think we found who we're supposed to talk to. You think gifts first or conversation?
Well, only one way to find out, I suppose.
Shall
Not
we?
really good with social gatherings and such.
Well, I'm happy to take the lead if you want to hold that newest possession of yours. Our friend, I guess. With me as we come up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. That sounds about fine.
After all, this is not it's not the first time I've been in situations like this. We'll be okay.
Jeremy, for context, I imagine it's very much like Virgil is carrying the skull akin to like Mimir in God of War. It's just like hanging on his hip.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is... You can expect what it would be like to ride into a village with somebody's skull from that village tied to your belt. Yep. People are definitely not pleased with what they see at all.
Yep. Understood.
You are able to understand, bless you, Soul, because you have this comprehend language going. The crowd is just livid. They're beside themselves. That not only did you travel through the burial grounds, but that it seems as though you have robbed them on your way through. And they are begging, yelling, demanding, pleading for the two elderly leaders that are standing there to do something about it. You get the sensation that these people probably would have already attacked and killed you, but it seems like where they are or when they are is preventing them from acting on that.
I think it's.
Go ahead.
So I think then as we walk up, and then I guess with Saul being like Saul's father being the one who kind of sold our people out and the land out to the railroad to begin with, right? And all of that. I don't think we'd be that far apart from our own ways. Could Saul do like an insight or a history to see if he knows like the proper greetings, or like if he knows like
absolutely.
which one? Yeah. Do you care which one? History, insight, which one do
you? History, probably. No, I could see an argument for either, so that's fine. Yeah, either one.
I'll roll at history. I'm better at history.
Okay, well then history works.
So that is a 19.
Okay. Yeah. You know that when there is a gathering of people, when there is a powwow like this, that bringing gifts is a part of what's done. You know, that's a part of the exchange, the greeting. It's not necessarily expected, but etiquette kind of demands that that's what you would do. And you would know that messing with the burial grounds, especially desecrating a body, it's a big deal. Just every bit as much as it would be in Unglarian culture, if not even more so.
Well then. Yeah, I think Saul then comes up to them again, just sort of a standard non-threatening greeting. I mean, he's a tiny ass little fennec fox guy too. It's kind of hard to be threatening as he comes through to that, but we'll just come up then and be like, well, elders, seems we have interrupted gathering. My apologies. We are new to this area, and at the recommendation of some friends, we sought out Doro Atawakin, who was nice enough after he had reviewed us and inspected us to determine we might be able to come converse with you and your people. But to do so, a certain trial had to be undertaken. During that time, we were asked to seek out another, I believe, member of your people. A certain Aptukona, I believe. Forgive me my pronunciations. I'm not versed in your language. Common is the best I can do. Upon assisting his spirit, we were brought here, and he has asked us to, collect his skull from the ground, and I believe bring it to you. So I guess before all other things, we're here to provide you back Aptukona's head. Purchase.
She steps forward and kind of holds her hands out, and the crowd kind of dies down, quiets, settles a little. And she speaks. These people have come here to speak with us. And we are here at the healing waters where we all belong together. However, they did appear to walk through sacred ground and steal something. However, they have another story. That they traveled through the spirit realm, guided by Aptun Kone. In exchange, they were gifted his skull. The man with the white eyes, standing behind her, speaks up. This is true. I saw everything. Aptun Kone came out from the sky, and they trailed behind him. He gifted his skull to this one, and he points a gnarled, bony finger directly at you, Virgil. Before he returned to the spirit world. The crowd kind of mumbles, some of them still displeased. But the old woman brings her hands up again. We will sit with these newcomers and we will speak. We will learn the truth of this matter. But this is no place for conflict. These are the healing waters of Thape Kiki, and we will keep it that way. Now, go about your business. Reluctantly, the crowd kind of starts to disperse and move away, and she turns to the group of you and kind of in a much smaller voice, she says, "You should come with me. We need to discuss something."
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
We'll
After
wave
you.
to the group to follow us along.
At some point, your horses have to be given over to somebody who's going to basically take them and put them with a. It's not a corral. There's not a corral, but basically just keep them safe while you're headed into one of these lodges. And one of you, actually all of you, would probably recognize this person. This brave is the same brave that you saw that night attack the stagecoach.
Glad to see you made it out.
He kind of looks at you, nods. Same.
We should talk later. No one knows you were there, but seems somebody else knows someone was there. Heat's on us right now.
Kind of looks confused. No, everybody here knows.
No, I mean, it's fine on your end. I just sort of meant one of the individuals on the stagecoach.
One of them lived?
Sadly, yes. For now.
Oh well.
We'll talk later. We owe you a drink.
We'll take you up on that. And he turns with the horses and leads them away. Up close, all of you can see that these TP are covered in a strange type of leather. It's not immediately recognizable, and the size of each of the hides that it's comprised of is massive. Anybody who wishes can roll a nature check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right. 9, 12, 18. Okay. So, Lucky and Soul, both of you recognize that these are our owlbear skins. They're apparently very thick, pliable leather. The group of you.
To pluck.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So it's got to be a bitch to pluck.
That's definitely one of the things that makes it look odd. Is there's these like rows of dots that are darker, from something in the tanning process. Speaking of, the camp all around you is just filled with drying racks where hides are being prepared and finished, and meat is being processed. So there's a ton of fires everywhere. Meat is being smoked. Some of it is being cooked immediately. Some of it looks like it's kind of being packed in the snow, and there's like an entire industry that has been set up. There's areas where each of these different jobs are kind of being done, and everybody seems to be working together to accomplish this task. You see a lot of people coming and going with skins of water from the springs. The skins themselves, these what would probably be like an elk stomach that has been cured and hardened. Like as they're carrying them, there is like steam like rising up away from these massive bags of water. And people seem to be drinking nothing but water. You don't see any kind of alcohol anywhere. You also see something a little strange. Anybody that wants to roll a history check, history, can do so. Switch to studio mode. They are okay.
18.
18, 21, 10. Okay. Again, Lucky and Soul, both of you see, well, all of you see these individuals, but there is meaning in it for the two of you. You see these other individuals who are kind of around working together with the Yengeese, but they are decidedly different dressed. And while the Yengeese have elves and half-elves that are mixed among them, most of the individuals that you see in this style of dress appear to be mostly elven or half-elven. The meaning that the two of you take from this is that these are members of the Onihapo tribe, which is a different tribe of Dorathians. And less than 2 years ago, the Yengeese and the Onihapo were in a bloody war with one another. Now they are working side by side with each other without any sign of animosity or hostility at all. Okay. Okay, yes. Then Elias, you also understand the meaning behind these separate tribes being together. So you make your way inside the main lodge, where there is a fire that has been built, kind of dug into the ground in the center, and there's a number of blankets that have been laid down, both furs and like textile woven blankets. It's very, very comfortable in here, and there's plenty of room for you to seat yourselves where the woman in charge kind of fixates herself on one of the larger cushions. She kind of lowers herself down and kind of winces a little bit. You can tell her old age is probably acting up a bit in the cold. And she kind of motions for everyone to sit. You see that there is a member of the Onihapo in the room as well with you. And just before the last of you sits, this representative from the Onihapo addresses the room, the lodge of you, and he says, again, Sol is probably the only one who understands this, because this is spoken in Dorathian. He says, "We wish to honor Nushiaksutun, chiefess, matriarch, for allowing us to learn together. As a show of our gratitude, we have brought you water from our home falls to add to your springs, so that what once was separated may be joined." She nods, and one of the other Yangis that kind of sits next to her very carefully takes this bladder of water that he has presented, and kind of takes it off to the side, hanging it on a peg. She kind of looks around the room at each of you in turn before she says, "Now, you traveled here all the way from where exactly?"
Well, most recently, I suspect I would say small town of Thunder Ridge. Encampment about X distance away from here in the Y direction.
She kind of nods, and she says the name of a valley that you might have heard once or twice. It's definitely not what the Unglarians call the valley where Thunder Ridge is located, but it is the Yangisi name for it. But she seems to know where you're talking about. "And you traveled all this way through the spirit world," she says with like a hint of disbelief, maybe like a small little twinkle of like teasing.
We misplaced our map, and it's the best we could do.
And that is in fact the skull of Octunkone.
Guide, nice enough to honor us with, well, the proper path.
Virgil would nod, would set the skull in front of her. "Yes, ma'am. I was told by this man in the woods that Aptunkone's soul had been given to an entity that I know rather well. The Gallow Tree. I don't know if you all know how. I don't know if it translates correctly.
She takes a kind of a sharp intake of breath, and her eyes look to the man with the white eyes, who is staring directly at you, Virgil. He nods. He says, "It's true." He is touched by the tree. This woman kind of looks at you with a little bit of a sideways glance, like the twinkle in her eye is a little gone now.
Yeah. Understand. I made this choice. I made this choice to bring him here. To go there to find his very soul and to release it from the gallows trees. To release it from the gallows tree.
She
He just
nods.
says, yeah.
If what you say is true, then his soul was tormented, trapped.
It was. I saw it for myself.
And you set him free.
Yes, ma'am. But with every freedom comes a little more bonding. With every soul set free, there's another one that gets laid. Another noose.
You work for a
Grows
dark
taut.
being. An entity of great evil.
You're not telling me anything I don't already know.
Perhaps one day you will be lucky enough to have someone set your spirit free.
Ma'am, as much as I would be so happily inclined to believe that that is indeed the truth. No, I got more rope waiting for me than there is in the entire plains out here.
She sets a papery hand, painfully thin skin stretched over knuckle bones. She places this hand on your talon. Aptun Kone was a troubled person. He did a lot of evil things whenever he was alive. And now he is free. If this is possible for him, it's possible for you too. And she pats you several times on the hand. I only hope that you will give such a grand gift to the person who sets you free. And she pushes the skull back towards you. If Aptun Kone meant for you to have this, you should carry it.
You see in that touch of her hand along his talon, there is an absolute bristle. And you don't know if it's like, I don't know if it can be seen from outside. It's not a bristle of uncomfortability. It's just a bristle of his feathers that is uncertain. It's a bristle that is uncomfortable with the realization that he might be someone that is a good guy. Like, he doesn't think that he is. He thinks he is he genuinely thinks he is unredeemable. And so for some random person to see within him even a glimmer of redemption in any way, that makes him literally bristle to his core that there might be something there. But he will take the skull if given.
She does, in fact, give it to you. Her name is, you learn, is Nushiak Kuten. Nushiek Sutin, which translates roughly to smoke bear. Whenever she hands this back to you, whenever you take possession of it again, Chad, we're not really futzing with identify and stuff. So,
okay,
I'm going to go ahead and let you know what this does. This is called,
wonderful,
oddly enough, the Skull of Optunkone.
Oh.
This skull requires attunement. Once a creature attunes to this item, it follows them, levitating at head height. While attuned, the bearer of this skull gains advantage on initiative rolls. In addition, the bearer of the skull may cast the Blink spell once per long rest. And I will go ahead and say the caveat is that instead of the ethereal plane, whenever you activate Blink, you go to the spirit world.
That's okay. That's super cool. Also, I gotta commend you, Jeremy. Like the magic card level magic item.
You like it?
Chef's
Good.
kiss. It's so good.
I'm
Yes.
very happy to hear that. I was rather proud of it myself. It made me verklempt. Yeah. So, yeah, you now have that. You do not have to be the one that keeps it. I'm just letting you know that. But if anybody else in the party decides that it would be better suited for you, have at it. But narratively, at least, it was given to Virgil. Yeah, the name of the item is a little bit on the head. Okay. So you have just been given that. As you're kind of handed it, you kind of have this dawning realization of what it's capable of what it does, the power contained within it. And I think that's where we're going to take our break. So we're going to take a 10-minute, go to the bathroom, kiss your spouse, refill your drinks, kiss him if you got him. I don't know what the hell that means, but do it anyways. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
Randomly around the house and kiss all my family members on the way down.
Kiss your drinks, smoke your spouse, whatever.
Smokers.
We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the break. We are here with the second part of Session 4 of Thunder Ridge. This session is titled Time Knaps the Sharpest Edge. We are currently in the winter camp of the Yangis tribe, a Dorathian nation of peoples, who take up residence at a place called Thapekike, known as the Healing Waters. It's kind of a hot springs here amongst these snowy mountains. There are also members of the Anihapu nation who are present, though there does not appear to be any of the animosity or conflict that you might expect to erupt between two peoples that less than 2 years ago were having a very, very bloody squabble with one another. The arrival at this camp has been a little tumultuous, a little tense, but you have been brought into the lodge of the matriarch of the tribe, and she has heard your explanation as to why you're here, or how you're here, rather, not necessarily why. And gave or re-gave Virgil an interesting skull, the skull of Aptun Kone, the guide who led you through the spirit world. So, as you realize, Virgil, what it is that this skull is capable of, the power that it would grant the person holding it. That's kind of where we jump back in, as it were. Are the rest of you saying or doing anything? You would have been offered water if you would like it. Probably even food, some kind of elk jerky. Rabbit jerky would be common as well.
I think the only thing Dusty is doing at the moment is she's trying to take mental note of any kind of like traditions or customs that he notices that are being practiced. Whether he himself observes them, but he's just trying to take mental note and learn as much about these people as he can, and especially actually probably when he realized they were walking through the burial ground earlier, he has walked and carried himself with a lot more caution and a lot more respect than he had before. Not that he was disrespectful in the spirit realm or anything like that, but he's more cautious of where he steps, where he walks, the actions he takes. He found himself, as they kind of journeyed through camp, wanting to branch off and look at some of these tanning racks and the decorations hanging from here or there, or even just like the way they tanned their hides here and dried their meats and different practices. But he curbed that curiosity and kept it under wraps, just taking notes of what he can from a distance. He's basically trying not to stir the pot anymore. He's doing his best to do what he knows is acceptable here.
And you're wandering around, even the little small tangents that you might have started to go off on, you would have also have seen the like mounds of owlbear feathers that were being stripped down to use as fletchings for arrows, or like decorations for hair, for the lodges themselves. for the horses. There are a ton of horses here, and you also see, the organs of these animals being processed. They are using every part of the animals that they have killed, and again, you see several different processes of preparing this meat. All of this is going on with a kind of a community zeal, when people are talking and laughing while they're working next to each other, and kind of goofing off a lot, despite the fact that it is very cold outside. But inside where you are currently, it is at the very least nice, warm, and dry. Is anybody else saying or doing anything while you kind of eat and continue to chit chat? Okay.
And if no one else is there with it, I guess then Saul would pop in as the conversation dies down and be like, I do wish that Virgil's employer was the only uncomfortable news we'd have to bring, but that would be disingenuous to do so. Although this is the first time we have found our way to your encampments, we have come across one of your people before. A bit of a long story there. To start, I suppose, how familiar are you with Wellington Railroad? And then Saul would lay into them that, not lay in, but lay out for them the Thunder Ridge seems to have acquired, or seems to have been built up around a place that has now piqued the interest of the Wellington Railroad, and that they are in the process of trying to buy out that property. And I'll explain the claim to them too, since we just walked through a spirit world that showed all that crap that went on with the torment and everything else on it. And I feel like they probably don't seek out the treasures for their own good.
She shakes her head. They will never be happy until they take everything that this land has to offer.
Indeed, I have no intention of letting that happen. My own father helped trade away the lands of our people for the modern ways of life, and through it I found nothing but discomfort and ruin, I think is the best way to say it. To be strictly blunt, I have no intention of allowing whatever's in that set of ruins to see the light of day for Wellington or any of their kind, or the town itself. But I don't know that there's much possibility to prevent the stem of progress at this time, as they put it. As they say, the iron wheel is still crushing stone beneath it. But that brings me to why we're here. First of all, and we each had how much plat? I can't remember what we said at the last of the game.
About 200 gold worth of plat each.
Right.
I wrote down 120 plat each.
Yep.
Okay, so Saul, do I even have that in my inventory right now? Let me see. No, I had 10 platinum in there, which
would be about
100 gold pieces worth.
100 gold pieces worth. Yeah, we divided it up into about 100 and some gold pieces a piece.
Yeah, speaking
and
of
then
which,
left the other amount still in the gravesite.
Cool. I would give the 10 platinum that I have to them and explain this is to use coarser language, this is your tribe's cut. outright. It seems in our efforts to prevent the railroad from gaining additional interest in the town, we thought it might be necessary to prevent their assessors from arriving. And in doing so, we seemed to interrupt the plans of one of your members. So without their astute assistance, I do not believe we would have been as successful as we were. So seems only right that their cut be delivered as well. So that's the first formality. But unfortunately, we were unable to prevent the return of the railroad, shall we say. Your group is not at all in suspect for it. It will fall upon us. I'm happy to take it. To be more forward, my intent is to fortify this town and areas around it to be prepared for when the time comes for us to push back on Wellington and his tide. To do so, my group will need a safe location with which to pass our questionably gotten materials that don't make it back to the town we're in directly. And I suspect that you and your people have a different trading network than Thunder Ridge. I thought perhaps it would be beneficial to both sides, for fiscally for you, as well as you now would have our group to assist you in anything that may bring unwanted attention. And in doing so, we are able to prepare to push back against Wellington Rails and others when the time comes without tipping our hand.
She hears you out, and then she says, to your first proposition, to fortify this town, I have to say no. We do not make war here. It is forbidden. Then come the spring, we will be gone.
My apologies. Not fortify your town here. We're intending to fortify Thunder Ridge. We would not bring the battle to you. Far from it is our intention. We simply wish to fight them in their own halls for once, instead of coming to ours.
Very well. Perhaps our people can work together in this if your intention is to start the building of the railroads. It is something that I would like to see. In exchange, if you gain control of this town, Thunder Ridge, the laws are made there? The laws of your people?
We currently don't have control of said laws, but yes.
But you intend to.
We intend to show the true nature of the railroad to the people there, and we suspect that when presented with the truth, they'll do the right thing. And we'll help influence that.
Then I would ask that you see it in your hearts to sell some of my people's land back to us.
Well, perhaps you should show us what areas you're talking about. Be happy to.
Someday, perhaps. For now, we can do trade. Your coins. For what it is that you seek of value from us. She reaches out to take the platinum that you're proffering to her. And suddenly the walking stick of the man with the white eyes kind of very quickly not slams down, but is brought down between the two of you. He says, "This metal is tainted with death." The woman kind of withdraws her hand. She says, "Is this true?"
Well, yes. For some of them, yes. It wasn't a situation that offered up negotiation.
Any money from real, always with death, one way or another.
Fair point, Elias.
Then it must be cleansed before it can be given as a gift.
Forgive our error. How would one go about doing that?
There is a ceremony must be performed, and all of you must take part. The money has passed. These coins have passed through your hands. You must be cleansed along with them.
I'm eager to learn, as I suspect we may have use of this ritual again.
She nods.
Are we gonna get high? I feel like we're gonna get high.
I was about to ask if this involved any more tea.
She kind of looks at you. No tea. Water.
Thank goodness. I'm not entirely sure my constitution could handle another cup of tea so soon.
Okay. There is a gathering that happens as the sun kind of goes down that evening, where they gather at a rock pier that's kind of been built to go out into the spring just a little ways, and the man with the white eyes, who you learn is named Sapaola Wexen, whose name loosely translates to "Spirit Eyes Wide Open." He dips a drinking horn into these waters, saying a prayer, chanting each to the cardinal directions one at a time, then to the sky, and then to the earth, to the water, to a fire nearby, before then bringing this horn over to each one of you in turn, presenting it to you to drink.
When in Rome.
Each of you drinks the water. It is warm. It is sulfuric's not really it has a taste to it. It is not the water that you would typically drink from a river. But you feel it kind of course through your body as you swallow this water, and you feel kind of invigorated. Like almost what we would assume, or what we would know, is kind of like right after you have a massage, where like your body is tingling, your circulation is flowing, and you just feel healthy. You feel invigorated and good. If anybody has any hit points that they're down, which I don't think they would be at this point, but you would heal those. Okay. The same scooping of the water and praying is done for several cups that are brought over, where these coins are cleansed. They're kind of placed into a basket where this water is poured over them, rinsing them and cleaning them. The water that falls to the earth in underneath this basket is then very hastily kind of covered up with like boughs of pine needles until there's a good probably foot or so thickness over this. Smoke is passed. It looks like some kind of maybe sweetgrass or sage or something to that nature is kind of brought over this area as the man with the white eyes performs another ritual over the area where this water has been rinsed out of the coins. The coins would then be accepted. How much in total was gifted?
So I gave them the 10 platinum that I had. So that was the
Okay.
I assume that was about the cut probably for the brave he left, So I was just giving that to them as a gift.
Okay.
But I explained that like what we're planning to trade would need the same treatment.
She kind of nods. How much more is there of these coins?
Don't remember exactly.
If I remember correctly, you said somewhere in the realm of like, was it 2 or 4?
There was 500 platinum.
500 platinum, so it'd be 5,000 gold.
Yeah, or was it more than that? It might have even been more than that. Was it 5,000 platinum? I don't know. It is a ton of cash.
It's a ton of cash, right?
So I don't think we get them to clean it all.
We sparsed only a little bit. I only took enough to not be conspicuous.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Are you giving any more of it to them currently, or just the 10 that Soul has given?
Well, we'd want to.
I'll give 9 for mine.
We'd want to launder the money. Was the intent, right? Was
right,
to bring it
to get
down.
Something for it.
Yeah, and so I think, in my opinion, like as much as we can get converted back to either goods that can convert to gold quickly or to gold, right? It helps us with our cover story, and it helps us wash the money.
Right. So you will probably be paid mostly in horses, hides, or meat. But there is also another possible item, but it is not something that they would just gift to you for a small amount.
Let's establish trust first.
Fair enough. Okay. So, yeah, 19 platinum would be 190 gold.
I'll throw in another one.
Okay, to an even 200.
So an even
gold.
200. Yep, 200 gold worth.
I believe horses are like 75 a piece, something like that. So that would be like 4 horses. Maybe 5. There's a show of gratitude. So basically, each one of you will be able to lead a second horse back for sale. You notice that the 5 horses that they give to you all come from like one, like they're culled. Someone goes out into the herd and like selects these one at a time and brings them back. And you notice that they are ones that do not bear any kind of markings at all. No paint of any kind. There are others that have different colors of paint. You see probably about 3 or 4 different styles, different groupings of markings or coloration on the different horses. As far as you can tell, these horses are designated for different purposes. Some of them look like they're beasts of burden. Some of them look like they are made to be ridden for war, and they have distinct characteristics about them. Okay. So you are gifted 5 horses that they will bring to you with lead ropes. And now you have agreed to continue to trade with you as much as you wish to bring.
I think that for the safety of your people and for the continued success of our arrangement, it might be best that we don't know exactly how to get to you, but instead know how to communicate to you and arrange meetings.
I see. What did you have in mind?
I suspect that when we leave, it would be best for us to be led away to someplace and pointed in the right direction after we're unblindfolded.
She nods.
That way, should something in our profession occur that we are broken, we don't know how to lead them to you.
Caution is appreciated. You have forethought.
Well, now I should say I do. It's a shame it came later in life.
There are many things that only come later in life.
Would you happen to have any healers in your group or medicine folk who could prepare us salves or concoctions to help us should we get injured?
She looks towards the wide-eyed man. She nods. So Paolo, we can certainly make such medicine.
We will probably have need of it, as buying large quantities of such items in public would, might raise suspicion. 5 folks looking the way we do. That's all I have. I think of this gentleman, Dusty, Elias, Lucky. Anything you need?
I believe that I've had about as much excitement for one day as I can stand. I believe I just need some time to process everything that's happened as of late.
Yeah. Well, then, if I could if I could have a moment with these two, while you guys get the horses, I would appreciate it. I'll be right out.
Virgil would nod and start rallying the rest of the crew to go grab the horses and get everybody together while you have a private moment.
Cool. So then I think when the tent clears out there for that, he would look to them and be like, Elders, thank you for your hospitality. Look forward to our continued trade. Wanted to be honest. The loss of my people's lands and the actions of my father are not what motivates me so against the railroad. I have seen what happens when they find things. And at that, he'd open up his like robes a bit to be able to expose like the crystal still embedded in his chest, and seem to have suffered some slightly for it myself. If needed, I'll avoid your lands. Personally, not to bring this closer, but I would appreciate any assistance you might have in understanding what I'm supposed to do with this.
The old man with the wide eyes leans towards you, his white eyes having no problem examining this crystal. He shakes his head. This is powerful magic. Not something I have seen before. There is danger, but it seems to be stable for the moment. Where did you find this?
No, along the line south when I was working for Wellington. We made a discovery similar to what, well, the type of thing that the loggers have uncovered in Thunder Ridge. I was sent to investigate. Upon investigation, we stumbled across several artifacts. Well, gentlemen in our company picked up one, and when I regained my senses, well, they were dead, and this was here.
And you? Are you living?
Feels like it, I suspect, but I wouldn't say I would say that Wellington has definitely taken a part of my soul before the crystal. And it's
So
not
you
helping
are
me.
half undead.
I think I'm just a little further along the path than most.
There are two in your group who walk this line. The line of the knife between living and dead.
Well, I'm more concerned that those numbers are going to grow if Wellington gets his way. But I thank you. And we will reach out through Dora Atawalkeen to set up our next meeting, or we can use him as an intermediary if you prefer. We know where he lives, and he seems to be a man of great discretion.
He is a good friend.
He guards
knows.
the way to your people.
He does, and he guards the sanctity of that knowledge. If he trusts you, as we trust you, I believe he would make a good go-between.
If you need us for anything, send a telegram to or message or messenger to the bar in Thunder Ridge, the saloon. Ask for Silas. I'll know what you need. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Too many people know Silas. If we may be ultimate and discreet, elders, as I believe you've given me your natural name, please reach out to Messiah. I'll be the only one who knows who that is. And I'll respectfully nod and make sure I take the offering that they provided us of the water for our springs.
Mm-hmm.
May we purify the waters of Thunder Ridge.
May you cleanse that town the way that you were cleansed here today.
Man, we're gonna need a lot of water.
All right. With that, you are able to collect your posse, collect your horses, the gifts that you were given, and begin your journey away from the winter camp of the Yengeese. You are, in fact, blindfolded. There is a small contingent of people from the camp that are going to lead you out. Namely, the individual that you met that night at the stagecoach, whose name is Juhapishka. Translates loosely to Lone Nighthawk. They travel with you for a number of miles, probably at least 2, leading your horses without error. And finally, you are the blindfolds are removed, and you find yourselves in kind of a copse of trees, evergreens that are heavy laden with snow, to the point where the only way that you'd be able to tell what direction you came from was to follow the horse prints out of here. The blindfolds are removed, and Lone Nighthawk looks to each of you, and he says, "You should camp here for the night, and in the morning, follow the sun. That'll get you pointed in the right direction. You'll find Thunder Ridge that way."
Appreciate it. Lone Nighthawk, before you leave, question. That canyon you were riding towards that night, is it protected by a creature?
He nods, very serious. "Yes, a dragon, they say."
How long's that story gone on?
"Since before I was born."
Troublesome. I suspect we should look into that at some point.
Oh,
Here,
not if you're
and,
smart.
I'll hand him the reins to the horse that I had, because I was trying to give him part of his cut for it, and be like, "This one's yours, I suspect, from that ride." And few have ever really considered me just smart. Usually it's smart ass, or smart aleck, or a bunch of other things. But smart doesn't always apply.
He takes the horse and nods. "Suit yourself." "I have a feeling we'll see each other again." He kind of nods to the rest of you. "Travel safe." And he takes the lead rope of the horse that you gave him and kind of nudges his own horse. His hand wrapped in the mane, the hair of the mane, turns it back towards where the hoof prints lead off to, and he and the second horse and the rest that kind of came with you to help lead all ride back out of this clearing. And with the 5 of you, plus 4 extra horses, in this small copse of trees, making camp for the night, I think that's where we're going to end this session. That works for y'all? A little bit shorter the session.
You know what?
But
I like
things
it.
a little quicker.
We've never gone long.
I like it though. I mean, it sets up some good stuff. I'm waiting I'm waiting for the conflict. I'm waiting for the bloodshed and the violence, because like
I don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
excited for.
I keep waiting for you to kill Elias. I mean, you got a quick, easy way out of your contract.
Listen. I've
I'm only one part of that contract.
I've already mentally agreed that I'm gonna keep y'all alive for as long as I physically can. No, but I love this, so it's very cool.
Good. I'm very happy to hear that. We got through things a little bit faster than I had planned tonight, but it was the exact opposite of what we did last time. So all of you can level. So don't forget that. You don't have to do it right now, but just before next time, make sure that you do. That'll bring you to level 4. Is that right? Or level 6? I don't remember which. I don't remember where we started.
What game are you playing?
Wherever I get extra feats. That's
listen,
we're going to.
If you want me to go from level 3 right now to level 6, I will gladly do so.
No, Chadley, I do not want you to do that.
Absolutely.
4th. That's good.
Getting mixed signals here. Getting mixed signals here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying there's a chance
Mm-hmm.
that we could jump to level 6?
That you might live to see level 6? I don't know.
After this random encounter, I think it's 2 levels.
Oh man.
If you survive.
We can go look into the dragon now and get all the XP for that early.
Yeah.
There you go.
We go farm.
That's where all the XP is at.
I'm saying, like, if we go now, it can't be an ancient dragon. It's just like, no way. It's got to be younger. If we go later, we're screwed.
That certainly is a theory.
It's a wyvern right now. If we wait too long, it becomes a full-grown ancient, and then now we can't do anything with it.
Ancient Box Canyon dragon.
It's gaining hit points as we speak, actually.
It's like a Pokemon. It's just gradually eating rare candies at the bottom of this canyon.
Yeah, we just need to
It's level grinding right now.
I'm really tempted to go into the canyon.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, this was fantastic, yo. I was really, really excited to have the chance to kind of showcase at least one of the nations of the Dorathians. I've always been very fascinated by First Nations peoples. A lot of the different cultural aspects and things that they have that I have learned through the years has always been very, very fascinating to me. So I wanted to make sure to pay homage to their part of the Western genre that is not through the typical lens that it has been for a long time. Hopefully I did it justice, but I had a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to whatever the hell y'all are gonna do next, because it's just anybody's guess at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna pass things back over to these wonderful players so that they can say anything that they want to before we call it an evening, and we will start in reverse order with Other Chad.
That would be me. I known that guy my whole life. Once again, thank you guys for this session and continuing this story. If you haven't, you can always check out Jeremy on I forget what it's called, but he'll have a link. You can get him to DM for you. Get him to DM for you. Start playing, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, start playing.
You can look him up on
games, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Startplayinggames.com.
There we go. So look him up on there. Maybe you can wrangle him in to play a game for you. Otherwise, you could check out the Absolute Tabletop community on different platforms. I found them first on Facebook. You remember that old platform? And you can talk to these kind of people on there, have the same kind of like-minded individuals, gaming. Maybe you just want to create bounce off brainstorming, different things like that. A great community. And you can get into games like this, or maybe even run your own. And I'm lucky and I'm lucky to be here. And I'm looking forward to where it goes next. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Thank you as always for being here. Next up, we have Glenn.
Hey, thanks everybody. Thank you, Jeremy. Great story-driven session again. Always love it. Getting to RP and have some fun with the group and do that. Looking forward to the craziness that's going to unfold after expose, I guess, episode before we get into getting hammered by whatever it is that comes up. Yeah, check him out on startplayinggames.com, Absolute Tabletop, etc., etc., etc. Jeremy's been great. This game is great. I love it, and look forward to playing more of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I promise combat's coming. It'll get to a point where there will be no talking your way out of it at some point.
Where we're going to regret it.
Maybe. That might happen. We'll have to see. Yeah, I was thinking the other day, like we had talked about possibly like a 9-session arc or so, and I'm like, damn, we're like halfway already. Okay.
I said campaign.
I keep getting that sinking feeling.
It's going to take campaign.
Like, look, we haven't even toppled the first railroad yet.
The first railroad. And going after all of them.
You
got to get them all.
Guys, we're playing Monopoly here. I'm planning on taking one railroad down, and then I got to get all the railroads
and the utilities.
And
and the two blue properties,
and then go back for boardwalk. So I mean, like, it's gonna happen.
Fair enough.
Just saying.
All right. Next up, we have Todd.
Yeah. Great game. Look for Jeremy. He's run this for us, run another one for us that is on his YouTube channel. And he's running one for Glenn and I offline as well. Great fun, great stories. Yeah. Love seeing you guys.
Feelings mutual, man. Thank you. Yeah, this is a ton of fun. I'm so happy that y'all wanted to keep playing and that y'all chose Caldera again. It's just it's such an incredible mental exercise to plan for and to make stuff for. So I'm really happy to hear that it's consistently entertaining and fun. That there's stuff there that is valuable to y'all. That makes me very, very happy. Speaking of making me very, very happy, next up is Nathan.
Yeah, thank you all. I wish we didn't have to wait a whole month to play this each time, because I wish that, but I also have that anticipation and build up when I get that message that says, a week away, it's game day's a week away. I start getting excited, and I'm like, all right, getting the mindset of this character and picturing everyone's characters and going over what happened last session in my head, and just reimagining this world, kind of being built up around me and built up around my character, and getting myself in that mindset. Thank you, all of you guys, for playing. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me into the group that you guys already had going. And Jeremy, thanks for running the game for us. Also, you guys, go get you a shirt. Big Old Critties, get you a Big Old Critty shirt. There's several sizes. Plenty of sizes. You can cover any size.
It's amazing. I went back and forth so long about whether or not to make that and post it publicly, because it was an inside joke for a little while in another game that I played in. I know it's crass, but I have a crass sense of humor, and I was like, well, people who don't like it aren't gonna buy it, but for the people that do like it, some people like Big Old Critties. What can you say?
I saw it and I had to have it. I kind of need one that says Little Old Critties and has ones on it, though, because that's usually the crit I get.
Itty bitty critty committee.
Itty bitty critty.
There we go. There we go.
Oh
Itty bitty critty committee.
Trademarked. Copyright.
That is awesome.
Itty bitty critty. All right, coming to a merch store near you. That's fantastic. All right. Speaking of fantastic, last but certainly not least, my brother from another mother, Chadley.
Hello, sir. Listen, I'll be honest. when I started playing in this game, I was just excited to be able to hang out with some really cool friends playing cowboys in a setting that I absolutely love. Like, that's legitimately what I set out for. But now, the longer we play, the more and more I'm invested in every one of these characters, the more and more I'm invested in this world, the more I want to see like all the character arcs start growing and evolving. I think last time we honed in on a very small arc, and so it was nice for us to kind of get that depth and growth, but I also feel like we missed out on seeing so much of that world, right? Like but I've also played in Harbinger so many times that like I know it. For me, this is fun because we just did a session where there was zero combat, very little interparty like RP, but we learned so much about the world. And yet I still sat here and I had a blast, even though maybe we rolled 10 dice all night. That to me is the value of a good setting. That to me is the value of a good GM. Those are the things that really, to me, set you apart, Jeremy. Is like, I was willing to just sit here and just envelop myself in this game, envelop myself in this character, and that is what makes you a great GM, because you've brought out this, like, I'm willing to come to a game where I barely feel like I do anything, but I still get the mass amount of value out of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, we physically did very little, but I got so much out of it. So I love you. I love each and every one of you. And I'm so happy that we get to see each other. I wish we got to see each other more than once a month, but I understand, right? Yes, Jeremy. You know what? But here's the thing. I would let you monologue all day. All day. It's worth it. No, I'm excited to see where these characters go. I'm excited to see where we go as a party. Are we going to be good guys? Are we going to end up being bad guys? Like, what's going to happen? But yeah, this was super, super fun, super exciting. I'm excited to level up because I get some cool spells. And man, oh man, it's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say. So if you are following this show and you do enjoy this content, please keep following, because there's only more insanity that is going to come from this game. I know. It's only a matter of time till this keg pops. So let's go along for the ride and see where it takes us. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, man. Again, thank you. Yeah, I am very, very pleased with the story that we've already kind of developed, with what we've kind of already learned about these characters and what it is that motivates them and what it is that haunts them. Again, y'all gave me a lot of material to build off of, and that's been incredible so far, especially kind of weaving it into what already exists in the Caldera. So I'm looking forward to continuing that and figuring out what exactly is going to go down in Thunder Ridge, and what it's going to mean for the people that currently live there, what it's going to mean for you guys. Yeah, I'm excited. So thank you very much for being just great people to spend several hours with. There's a lot of people who might be really great role players, but they might not necessarily be that much fun to hang around, or vice versa. People who are really great to hang around, and they might not be that strong of role players, but you guys bring a fantastic mix of both to the table. So it's easy to do this with y'all. So I'm happy that you have given me the opportunity to present this story for you, to run this game for you, even if it does lack in combat sometimes. I promise we're getting there. But yeah. This is an absolute joy. For those of you who watch this game, thank you very much. Whether you tuned in live with us while we played this evening, or whether you might be catching up later on down the road, it is massively appreciated that you find some kind of joy and entertainment here on the channel. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it. If you liked the kind of content that you watched, do all the stuff that the YouTube algorithm likes to see. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the link around, talk about the game with your friends, things of that nature. And yeah, make sure you come back for next month's session 5 of Thunder Ridge. So yeah, what else? Oh, remember, kindness is a free action. It genuinely, it doesn't cost you anything to be nice to someone. And for all of you out there who have ever struggled, you know that sometimes having a stranger be kind to you makes all of the difference in your day, your week, your month. It just depends. So if you can do that for someone else, and it costs absolutely nothing from you to do that, then why would you not? Why would you hold back? I think in all genuineness, I think that we could change the world by doing that small thing if more people would just act with kindness. All right. So I love all of you very much. I love that I get to do this for fun. So I think we're going to go ahead and put a bow on this and call it an evening. Until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.